I'm back taking a look at yet another one of the Doctor Who 5.5 B&M exclusive 2019 action figure collector sets, as today I'll be taking a look at the 7th Doctor collector set, featuring none other than the 7th Doctor himself, as portrayed by Sylvester McCoy, alongside two Silver Nemesis Cybermen, including a standard Cyberman alongside the cyberleader. This product will be available from B&M stores throughout the UK during August 2019, and the recommended retail is £19.99. This is of course a rather exciting collector's set, and a brilliant one for army builders, especially those who are fans of 80s Cybermen, and it is in fact a rather rare occurrence to see a complete re-release of a previously released Forbidden Planet exclusive collector's set, being the two Cybermen within this set, of course with a few upgraded paint apps. As per usual, due to this being a part of the 3-pack series, we do have the brand new and updated design, featuring the new 13th Doctor logo at the very top. Along the bottom band of the packaging, it does state that this is the 7th Doctor collector figure set. Personally, I think it would have been just better if they called it the Doctor Who Silver Nemesis collector set. It just has a cooler ring to it. And then, of course, just above this, we get the limited edition sticker, of course, which is golden, and a rather interesting inclusion. This is something not to be concerned by. From what I understand, there is going to be a much higher stock of these products this year round, meaning there should be no need for people to buy it for extortionate prices on eBay, because they are going to be available for a longer duration of time. In the very middle of the set, we do also get this preview window that does nicely display the figures on the inside of the box. These Cybermen in particular really nicely stand out on that white background, and something that I did mention in my previous review of the Sontaran set is do be warned character, because this band at the very top does almost hinder your view of the action figures, especially the two Cybermen here. Sylvester gets away with it because he is pretty small, so yeah, do be warned there, because you're hindering the view of the actual product. Along these sides of the box, we do get the promotional images of the product itself, and then at the opposite side we do get a rather nice graphic of the TARDIS. And along the very bottom we do also get some rather delightful company information. On the back of the box, once again, we get the standard layout to usual in the rather nice modern and stylish design, and we do once again get the promotional images of the figures on the inside of the box. And similar thing to the other B&M 3-packs that have been released over the years, personally it would be nice to maybe see a bit of information about the Cybermen or just Silver Nemesis as an actual story, just to pad out the back of the box a little bit more. So overall, a really nice box design, and I personally think that this works very well for the B&M 3-packs, and I've just realised the brilliant irony of having a golden sticker on a box of Cybermen, especially given the context of Silver Nemesis. So yeah, well done character, bonus points for that. So here we have the 7th Doctor, along with his two Cybermen friends out of the box, of course from the 1988 7th Doctor story, Silver Nemesis, of course an anniversary celebratory episode. Now this is a very unusual box set, and I do believe a first for the B&M series, because we pretty much have a direct re-release of one of the previously released Forbidden Planet exclusive sets, of course just with a number of variations and adjustments made to the paint apps, which is a brilliant opportunity for those people who didn't get the original set, and also much like the Sontaran set that has also been released this year along with Harry Sullivan, it makes for a perfect opportunity to start army building the Silver Nemesis Cyberman variant after it being quite rare in previous years. So starting off with the Doctor himself, of course as portrayed by the brilliant Sylvester McCoy, this is of course a variant of his costume from the earlier half of his era, where he does of course wear a cream jacket. Now this is a really lovely opportunity once again for those people who didn't get the previous 7th Doctor figures to get a cream jacketed version of his Doctor, because out of the two I think that the brown one is certainly a lot more common, of course the Ghostlight variation, after having of course the release in the 11 Doctors set, and then again I do believe a few years later on, of course, in the 13 Doctors set. However, it seems that every single release of the cream-jacketed version does seem to now be considerably rare. I do believe that the previous one would have been the Toys R Us 50th anniversary version of the 7th Doctor that is pretty much exactly the same sculpt and head combination as this one, of course with just some slightly different paint apps. This one is in fact a lot more vibrant and a nice update, and certainly a worthy addition to the collection. So firstly, to start off with, one of the main things that the collectors will be interested in is how does this figure differ from the original version released in the Remembrance of the Daleks set, who is currently struggling to stand. Now, of course, the main difference, as you can see almost instantly, is that this figure is a lot more vibrant. As you can see on the jacket itself, this is a very strong cream colour, almost nearing on white, to be honest. And then this version of the 7th Doctor is a little bit more of a dirty cream colour, of course with a little bit of weathering and no doubt dating around the sides, because it is in fact a number of years old by now. I do think that both of them are really nice. I absolutely love this version of the 7th Doctor. It's one of my personal favourite figures of all time, and I think that this new one is a worthy addition to the collection. It is of course also nice to have a variant of the non-hatted head on the cream jacket body, as that has only been previously released once before. Moving to the very bottom of the figure to take a look at the shoes, of course we get as per usual the rather shiny brown boots along with the white spats that have been rather nicely painted and stand out quite a lot. And then we of course get your usual 7th Doctor trademark checkered trousers. These have once again been rather nicely painted. We've seen a number of variants of these over the years, and I think that for once again a budget B&M set, they've actually done quite a good job on these, especially considering the previously released Bill figure from the B&M series that wasn't necessarily the most neatest of checkered and road design. So as you can see, we have this whiter line going down the very middle here, and then we also have these lighter brown lines going around the side. So I certainly get the suggestion of the pattern that it is meant to be. It's probably not accurate to the actual trousers within the actual show. I do believe that they are a lot more complex in design and certainly use a lot more shades of brown in them, but they certainly do the job. I think they look very impressive. Moving up now to the main part of the costume, we do of course get the trademark 7th Doctor question mark jumper, which has once again been rather nicely recreated. We have the suggestion of the woolen material at the bottom and the top there, rather nicely recreated. And then in the very middle we get the cream jumper itself, along with the different rows of question marks, with of course the greenish blue highlight running around the sides. Now of course over the many years there has been a few variations of this jumper. I do believe that it might still be wrong compared to the actual one as seen within the TV show. I do believe that there is a certain number of rows of question marks, but I don't mind too much. I certainly get what it is meant to be, and to be honest I think that even some of the most dedicated fans no doubt wouldn't be able to recognise that issue. Of course we do also get the shirt there that has once again been rather nicely sculpted, with the suggestion of the tie in the very middle that has been painted with a rather nice red colour. This would usually have a pattern on, I do believe, of normally a silverish highlight, a few swirls on there, very much like the scarf in fact. However, this time round it is in fact just a plain red colour with no detailing on whatsoever. Running down the very middle of the jacket, of course sculpted to be behind the lapels of the jacket itself, we have the red scarf that has been given the base colour of a very similar shade of red compared to the tie as well as the handkerchief. And then over the top of this we do have the suggestion of a pattern, of course with a few swirls and things in there, with a few dark blues and greys, which might be a little bit darker actually, just looking back, comparing the two side by side. As you can see, they are pretty similar, however with some slight changes. On either side of the jacket we do also get the sculpting suggestion of the pockets, and then of course on the figure's left hand side we do also get the sculpting of a chin, which has also been painted with a golden highlight, which is very nice. Once again, on the left-hand side of the figure, we do have the handkerchief poking out of the pocket as per usual. However, this time round, the pattern detailing has once again been removed, much like the tie, and it is in fact just a standard red colour. Taking a look at the opposite side of the jacket, we do also get the sculpting suggestion of a pocket as per usual, and then on the back we do also get the sculpting detail of the little belt piece with the button in the very middle there as well. The rest of the jacket on the back is once again a few creases and things here and there, however nothing really too special. Overall, I think that the new jacket colour is in fact a rather nice variant. As to accuracy, I think it just depends what the lighting is like within the actual story. In some of the more brightly lit studio scenes, the cream jacket does in fact look very bright, but then again in other stories it does look a little bit darker, very much like the original Remembrance of the Daleks 7th Doctor, released many years ago. So I think that both of them are just as nice, and to be honest, there isn't really too much in it. They are both the same colour really at the end of the day, just slightly different shades. But if you're wanting a more vibrant version of the 7th Doctor, this is certainly the one for you. And finally, for sculpting and detail, of course this 7th Doctor figure has came packaged with the non-smiling, non-hatted head, as originally seen within the 11 Doctors set Ghostlight figure of the 7th Doctor. A nice choice, it looks okay, the likeness as per usual is superb. I do think that Sylvester McCoy's likeness has been captured spot on. I love the little attentions to detail, such as the wrinkles around the face, and especially the faint design on the forehead of a few wrinkles in there as well, that I do think have been slightly lost within the paint apps. It's one of those figures where I kind of think that the paint maybe drowns out some of the detail. Some really lovely expressions, as I say, within the eyes. I think that those have been very sharply painted, which sometimes on the B&M sets, once again, can be lost. Normally you have one eye looking in one direction and another eye looking in the other, and it just looks a little bit awkward and unusual. And then of course you do also get the lips, which have been painted in sort of a purplish colour, but look kind of natural. Of course, turning around to the sides of the face, I think that this is another one of Character Options' great examples of a sculpt that looks absolutely perfect side on. It definitely looks like Sylvester McCoy. Sculpting of the ears in there as well. And then of course we have the hair once again sculpted as per usual with a standard black, and then of course a lighter grey highlight added over the top to emphasise some of those curls and sculpting details. If this B&M collector set was released maybe last year or the year before, I wouldn't really class this as a criticism or an argument, but I kind of feel like Character Options have rather excellently upped the game this year. We've seen some absolutely phenomenal variants and some incredible creativity as well. Therefore, I kind of think that this criticism is fair. Now we've finally seen a new sculpted Harry Sullivan head. It would be lovely to see finally a retool of the 7th Doctor to have the serene, non-smiling head to include the hat as seen on the smiling version of the 7th Doctor, as well as the 7th Doctor that came with the TARDIS. It's something that a lot of fans have wanted for years, and it will be lovely to add that to the collection. His character one day release that other version of the 7th Doctor. It will require a little bit of retooling, but it will be worth it in the end for us dedicated 7th Doctor fans. And sadly, I'm putting this completely down to the two other figures that this product is packaged with, but the 7th Doctor does not come with his trademark umbrella. Of course, if you want to pose him with it, and if you have the previous versions, you can just use one of your old ones. But yeah, he seems a little bit lost without it. I kind of wish he was packaged with it, especially considering that we had quite a lot of accessories within the Sontaran set. Well, now moving on to the second and third figure of the 7th Doctor collector's set, we do of course have the Cyberleader and standard Cyberman from Silver Nemesis. Now, very much like how I did in the Sontaran collector set review, I'm going to review both of these figures simultaneously because they are both pretty much exactly the same in sculpt, just with a few minor paint changes. Now, this is of course a very exciting opportunity for those of you that like to army build, because this is the perfect chance to get more than one Cyberman and of course repaint up the handlebars just to be a standard Cyber Trooper. It'll be very easy to get an army of Cybermen quite quickly. Of course, this is also a direct re-release of the original Forbidden Planet exclusive Silver Nemesis set, which is also quite a rarity, just with some differences within the paint apps, which you may as well go on to right now in the comparison. So sliding on the army, as you can see, we already have 4 different Cybermen, very exciting indeed, and they all look absolutely brilliant together. The most obvious differences, and it might be a little bit hard to see on camera in fact, is that these 2 new Cybermen from the B&M series are in fact a slightly more silvery silver than the original versions, which are much more matte and much more toned down. Of course, these Cybermen from Silver Nemesis were very chrome in their design. However, you cannot recreate chrome within the action figure form, because apparently, according to Al Dewar, when he did the unboxing video, he stated that chrome paint apparently flakes off the figures or something like that, which is fair enough. So it's nice to see that they've gone as far as they possibly can in the shininess level of things to make these Cybermen look accurate to what is seen within the story. Of course, some other additional changes. The wiring on the Cyberleader, and in fact both of these Cybermen in fact in this set, has now also been altered. Oh, apologies for that, Cyberleader. There we go, popping him back up again. As you can see, the wires on the original version are in fact very yellow in design, or a vanilla colour almost, and then on this new version they are a lot more clear in design, and also are a little bit more tighter to the body as well, especially around the shoulders, as you can see. Other than that, paint app wise, they are all pretty much exactly the same. Moving down to the bottom of the figure, of course the Silver Nemesis Cybermen have some very unusual shoes. They are kind of more angular than your normal boot, so we do have a few details on this which spread to the entirety of the boiler suit of the figure itself. But whilst we are down here, just giving a comparison to the previous Cybermen that have released, so we have the Earthshock Cyberman there, and then we do also have the Attack Cyberman as well, another B&M set release. In fact, there is quite a big difference across the board of the 80s, and it is nice to see that reflected within action figure form. Moving up the legs, we do in fact have this unusual kind of banded section, of course with a bar piece on the very side, and this has been really nicely represented through the paint taps as well, making these different ridges really nicely stand out. Moving up to the rest of the boiler suit, of course we pretty much get the repetition of the same design. I do love the material effect that has been used. Of course there is a range of creases all around the body, and then there is also a really lovely weathering effect that has been applied over the top, once again using darker colours such as greys and blacks in order to really emphasise some of these creases, as you can see, make the wires and things stand out. Of course towards the middle section it does get a little bit more tighter, but on the trousers it does have quite a lot of creases, and the same of course can be said for the back as well, where there is in fact a few more creases. As per usual, the chest unit is in fact a separate piece of plastic, once again painted in silver, and it is in fact a rather nice sculpt and very similar in its idea to that of the Earthshock Cyberman and Attack Cyberman really. The only main differences are that of course the chest unit in the very middle is now of course an open plastic piece, and we do have a little bit of machinery going on the inside, along with a few holes even within the plastic itself, very much like the costume from the story. And then below this we get a little bit of tubing leading to this little rectangle piece at the very bottom. Of course, once again bringing on the Earthshock Cyberman to compare this, it is in fact rather similar really, as I say, in its idea, just with a few differences of having this rectangle there as opposed to being absent on this version. On the very back is where the major changes take place. As you can see, we have this very big wired section board here, and then we have the wires hopping around the side, including a lower set of wires which isn't present on the Earthshock Cyberman, and then much like the Earthshock Cyberman we in fact have these two upper wires which do of course lead around to the very front, where it does attach to the cyberleader's face as per usual, very much like all of the 80s Cybermen in fact. Moving down to the arms, once again exactly the same effect has been used on the silver with lots of weathering, and then we do also have the same banded section that has been used on the legs, and this is just repeated on both of the arms. Much like the previously released Forbidden Planet exclusive version, once again this Cyberman has the rather big, almost baseball-like gloves. Once again very padded and very thick, and we've once again got exactly the same detailing on as with the rest of the boiler suit, being painted in silver, along with a few darker paint apps applied over the top. And of course these are very big in order to hold the unusual shaped Cyberman gun. And finally, for sculpting and detail, Cyberleader head, once again really nicely recapturing what they look like within the 80s. So of course we do have a few variations on this. Once again, that very shiny silver paint tap has once again continued in a rather effective way. At the very bottom of the chin we do also get the clear plastic section, of course to reveal the mouth underneath, which was once again a common theme in the 80s era of the show. In the very middle we do also have the eyes, which I'm happy to see have been painted black this time round, which I never noticed this to start with, but on the original Silver Nemesis Cyberman, as you can see, they've not been painted. Never bothered me before at all, and now I realise when I've got this version how unusual it looks to not have them painted, so I'm very happy that Character Options have done that to make this figure stand out. Of course, turning around to the opposite side of the figure, we have a few ridges and things on the side of the face, and then of course on the very back we continue with the dreaded panel where literally the actor on the inside is nailed into the costume. Not literally, but you know, you've got little pins there to keep it in place, where of course it would have been locked in forever and they would have been incredibly warm. Of course, due to this being the Cyberleader, we do also have the handlebars at the very top that are of course in the black design as opposed to your regular silver. So just sliding off that Cyberman to take a look at the other version, there really isn't anything in it, to be honest, detail wise. Exactly the same once again, just with the handlebars and their different ridges, just painted silver, and he looks pretty cool and has all the other same details as the one that I've just taken a look at. It's great to see that both of these Cybermen have came packaged with their Silver Nemesis guns, and not gonna lie, I don't like this design that much. It's not a criticism of the actual toy, more so just a criticism of the actual prop from the TV show. I think that the Earthshock ones are brilliant in their own way, and certainly a very eye-catching design that I relate to the 80s style of Cybermen. So I don't quite know why they changed them, but of course we do have a few colours and different sections on this. It is mostly silver, and we have a few black sections here and there, and then of course this unusual end section as well, which I don't quite know what that is, but of course you can hold it in that opposite hand. So yeah, a nice sculpt, and both of them are just exactly the same. And once both of these Cybermen are positioned and posed with their guns, they are ready to battle with the 7th Doctor. And naturally, if you have been a collector of the Doctor Who line of action figures for a number of years, you'll be able to create a brilliant army worth of Cybermen to fight off of the 7th Doctor and Ace, and generally create some really cool looking scenes when on display. So overall, for the Doctor Who B&M exclusive 2019 7th Doctor collector figure set, also known as the Silver Nemesis collector figure set, once again another really nice selection of figures to add to your Doctor Who collection, and is a perfect opportunity for fans who previously didn't get the Forbidden Planet exclusive line of Doctor Who action figures. At the end of the day, it is cheaper than the original box set, and you get an extra 7th Doctor figure in there as well. What is not to like? Of course, the 7th Doctor figure is a lovely variation for those people that have got the original version, a lot more vibrant. However, it would have been nice if he was packaged with his umbrella, or maybe even having that retool head to have the serene face with, of course, the hat that we've been wanting for quite a few years. Of course, Cybermen are Cybermen, and regardless if you've got some already, it is great to get some more and have the potential to army build them. And of course, in particular for this set, the Silver Nemesis Cybermen are a really lovely design, very silver and very shiny and very eye-catching, and the actual detail on them as well is very impressive. So a set of very good opportunities. I imagine that out of all of them, probably this set is going to be the one that has the least interest, which I suppose is good for army builders because you have more opportunity to get more Cybermen without needing to track them down. But it is still certainly one that I do recommend considering purchasing for a nice variant of the 7th Doctor and some really lovely variations of Cyberman. So thank you very much for watching this review. If you have any questions about this product, please do leave them in the comments section below, and I'll try my best to answer them at some point in the near future. And naturally, stay tuned on the Host Productions for more Doctor Who content every single week, and of course do check out also my other Doctor Who action figure reviews, including the 5th Doctor and TARDIS, the Sontaran set, including Harry Sullivan action figure, alongside the 8th Doctor in Dark Eyes costume with Dalek Interrogator Prime. I do also intend to review the other B&M exclusive collector's sets from this year at some point in the near future, depending on whenever they are released or whenever I can get my hands on those releases. So thanks for watching this review, and I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.